Bro, so you just got back from Kruger. Must have been an awesome time. That was your first time in Kruger.
Yeah, I've never done the flipping Kruger, bro. 26 years old and I've never done the Kruger.
I was actually having a discussion the other day with someone where we were talking about, how amazing our country is. If you think about, the variety of what we have here. If we think about, okay, Joburg, average. But if you look at, the Kruger, let's just say those game areas.
Yeah.
You've got beaches, you've got desert area, you've got mountainous areas. Obviously, I was just recently in Clarence. That was my first time there. I mean, that place is so incredible. But you got mountains like that. You got the borders of Lesotho. You've got Durban. You got KZN. You got the winelands in the Western Cape. Kruger. That whole area there with all the animals. I mean, but if you look at KZN, they've got game reserves. They've got beaches.
Yeah.
They've got the mountains. I think KZN is probably the place with the most variety in terms of all of that.
Yeah, look, bro, to be honest, I think we can safely say, to start everything off, our country is a shit show at the moment. It's honestly a flippin' joke. Like, petrol is through the roof. We've got load shedding every damn day. Like, it's cuck. And I think to shed some light on the aspect of that there now as well, we are lucky in the sense that, we can hate our country as much as we want. That's shit. With regards to all of the political stuff. But then you bring up all of those aspects, the nature that we have, things like the Kruger Park, the wildlife that we have here, being able to take a 5-hour drive, 6-hour drive, however long it takes to get down to Durban, for instance, to go to the beach there. We are extremely lucky to be able to have all of that stuff literally at outside our doorsteps. I mean, if you look at the Brits now, bro, they're going batshit crazy. Have you checked them? It's been 29 degrees in the UK. And I saw a video on Instagram of my mate at the beach. Bro, they were sitting on top of each other. Like, literally, they've never seen the sun a day in their flipping life. But they were all
haven't.
there. Yeah, they probably haven't. Explains why they're so snowy
but
white. Bro,
obviously, you and Steph potentially would like to immigrate.
Yeah, look, I'd love to get overseas at some stage. You know what? That's always the tough thing as well. It's like my one mate that's in the UK at the moment, he wants to come back to South Africa. But I say to him, but you've got it good there at the moment. Why not stay there? But he's like, I love my country. And I think that's the tough thing. You know what? In my profession in teaching, going overseas is the best option for me. And it will eventually at some stage lead to that. But it's not just like, okay, cool, I can't just pack up right now and go. There's still... I mean, it's taken me 26 years to get to the Kruger Park. So there's other things I still need to do in this country and experience and all of that. I can't just, pack up shop and duck.
And saving, bro. You got to save because of the exchange rate.
That's the thing, bro. It's that is something that's a long-term plan, that, bro. You've got to sit and be like, okay, cool. I plan maybe 35 years old. I want to go overseas. I want to immigrate. But you obviously do need to save for something like that. You can't just go and flip. If I had to leave now, bro, and land up there, I'm going to be standing on the side of the road begging for money. Because I don't have cash to go there at the moment. But it is definitely a plan at some stage to be able to head overseas. And I definitely think my profession, it thrives a lot more overseas. Over here, don't get me wrong, it's great, but nah.
Yeah, because, overseas, the pay gaps are they're similar in terms of teaching, doctors.
That's the thing.
All of those jobs, or jobs in general, other than maybe business owners, but where you pay yourself. But a teacher gets a very good living compared to South Africa. You kind of struggle.
Yeah.
You don't struggle, but it's not an amazing salary. Whereas, bro, you can work in a McDonald's in America and still have a flat.
But that's the thing.
In South Africa, you're a teacher and you have a flat.
Yeah. No.
So that's the thing where you can have a minimum wage job overseas and still live the same life you would here with a pretty decent job.
Oh, look, bro, with the salary that you get as a teacher, you can live comfortably. It's not to say that that you're gonna, you can live very comfortably. I mean, It's obviously all dependent on the person you are. It depends if you are spending money on takeout every single night, then yeah, of course you're not going to be able to thrive with your cash and all of that stuff. So it's things like that. I mean, one of my teachers at the school there, he's been teaching for like 20 something years. His house is ginormous. He stays in Noordheuvel. It's a nice house. And you look at that and you're like, okay, it's possible. I mean, you know, my parents are both teachers, and we have lived, obviously, we in the medium bracket of financial status and all of that stuff. It's things like that. So it's all dependent on you, bro. It's for you, the oak that's going to go crazy with their money. And the moment you get paid, you're just like, okay, cool, new shoes, new clothes, this, boom, all your money's gone. Then obviously you're not going to get to what you want to get to. So, and I mean, I'm guilty of that sometimes. There's months where I just like, okay, cool, I've been paid. Let me go buy this. Next minute, I'm not even 5 days later, I'm like, shit, I'm broke.
Well, every time you're on the podcast, you've got a new cap on.
That's the thing, bro. So when I've got a new cap on, that's when you know I'm
no, but you've had that for at least 2 months, 3 months.
I think so. I think it's been about 2 months, possibly 2 months.
Well, I've recently started reading, going back to like the petrol situation and the situation in the country, a book called The Daily Stoic, and another book. So this book, The Daily Stoic, is basically, you know, based on the Stoic principles of, you know, Marcus Aurelius and all of those philosophers. And I've also started reading Marcus Aurelius's book, which is Meditations. And, you know, the main principle of Stoicism is don't allow what you cannot control to consume you, to take up, you know, your bandwidth of brain capacity, and don't allow something that's completely out of your control to upset you or to set you back or to change your mood. So, you know, that's kind of what you kind of have to do with. And I was having this conversation with my dad on Saturday with the electricity, the outages, the petrol prices, the inflation. You know, you can't control that. You can't. I mean, what all these people posting tons and tons of things on social media about, the petrol price, the country sucks, all this. Like, what does it help? It doesn't. Like, you can complain until you're blue in the face about petrol prices, inflation, all of that. It's not going to help you. All it's going to do is make you more negative and just make the people around you more negative. So the only thing, you know, in this book, it's kind of helped me is, you know, this is the situation. The more I allow it to affect me is not going to change the situation. Yeah. You need to look at what's in your control. Okay, what's in my control is to budget better. What's in my control is to maybe drive less, carpool, those kind of things. So you focus on what you can control, because when you try to focus on, you know, the negative things that are completely out of, even in this book, bro, it's crazy. It says like your body is not even in control. You can't control if you actually get sick tomorrow. Yeah. You can't control, I mean, your knees, that was out of your control.
Yeah, literally.
So you can't constantly be like, I mean, if you were born blind, you can't do anything other than just be blind. Yeah. So you got to focus on the things you can control. You can control your own happiness. You can control your own perception of things. You can control your thought process towards things. And it's kind of just saying like, dude, inflation, the economy, everything's out of your control. Focus on what you can control, and that's your own happiness.
Yeah, dude, I think honestly, we are at a time now where we can't do much. And like you say, there's nothing we can control. Doesn't help ranting and raving about the petrol. At the end of the day, like you say, we're going to have to make a plan for just put more money. We're going to have to put money aside, budget better. Like you say, do a carpool. Because unfortunately, it's crazy. And I can promise you now, the people sitting in power do not care. They can't do anything about it as well, because it all just links together. If we don't get a certain amount of oil from one country, then our petrol obviously is going to take a knock. But it's also something like, with regards to like the power situation, it is out of obviously our control. But I think what frustrates people is I had a discussion, I think it was with my dad the one day. We were speaking about Eskom. Eskom, at some stage, I'm not too sure.
This episode is sponsored by Nutricon. You can use the code Eskom sucks and save 20% off on all Nutricon products. Eskom sucks.
Yes, and we can vouch for that. But at a stage, I think, look, I don't know 100% of the facts, but there was a point where Eskom was perfect. It was literally running perfectly because it was left. The engineers that obviously were working at Eskom, I think, all just ducked overseas and left. And then obviously with the political parties that we have that came in and took over, they stopped servicing the machines. They stopped maintaining them. And that is obviously what has led now to all of this stuff taking place. And now when shit literally hits the fan, it's like, okay, now we actually need to start servicing. So now we're going to do stage 6 power cuts.
But now it's kind of not servicing. It's kind of, I've got a cut. Let me just put a little bandage
but
over
yes,
it.
Yeah, that's the best way you could explain it, because it's stuffed already. If they had just stuck to when those engineers obviously had handed over Eskom and all of that stuff, there should have been a full-on instruction manual. But now in our country, it's like, we'll get the instruction manual on how to do everything perfectly to the T. But typical South Africans will just chuck the instruction manual. We know what to do. We don't need this help. So,
and those people that are doing it now
exactly
aren't the civil or the mechanical engineers.
they're not.
They're the people that have got the tenders that probably don't even have an engineering degree.
Exactly, and that's the case. So now it's, this machine is now breaking down. Okay, well, like you say, just take a plaster. We'll just try to tweak 1 or 2 things over here, but we still need to cut out half of Joburg. They don't get power because we need to fix this thing now. But then it's just a constant process of, okay, now this one's bugging out now. Now we need to fix that. So honestly, I don't think they realize that they've shot themselves in the foot with regards to that. They got given Eskom in pristine condition, and now it's literally gone to a ball of shit. So now what? Now we're gonna be having it forever and a day because you can't recover it now. It's so
well,
stupid.
we're also talking about other countries immigrating to other countries and people wanting to come back. But our fuel price, obviously, it could have been maybe remedied slightly. A government could have helped a little bit. But, obviously it's because of this war, because of the Ukraine, because of all this. I mean, fuel prices all around the world have obviously increased. Every country has its problems. Every single place has some issues. I mean, we in South Africa are fortunate enough not to have any natural disasters.
Yes, yeah.
If you look at America, you look at the political unrest in America, if you look at the racism in America, I've heard people say that racism is worse in America than it is in South Africa.
Yeah.
So there's so many problems in so many different places. And people always, obviously, it's so cliche to say, but people do think it's green on the other side.
Yeah.
The grass is green on the other side. Sometimes it could be. I think a lot of places it will be, but it's just going to be a different type of problem that you're going to experience.
Yeah, I think it's your minor country, your smaller little countries, you could say, because I mean, if you like, South Africa in general has an issue. America has an issue. You go to your smaller little countries. I mean, I know like one of the teachers that immigrated to Netherlands with her husband. I mean, they cycle everywhere, bro. So things like that eliminates a lot of the things. But you look at Netherlands. Netherlands is not ginormous like North America, like Africa, like Australia. It's a lot smaller, so they've got a lot more control.
My cousin's actually in Netherlands.
You see, so probably if you had to ask your cousin now, they'd probably say it. Like
my aunt and uncle are leaving as well to Netherlands.
You see, so smaller countries like that, like Switzerland, Sweden, they're all able to prioritize and monitor the certain things. And if something does go wrong, they obviously have their ways to fix it, but it doesn't need as much power because it's such a small little country to manage. Whereas us, when one thing goes wrong, generally it's a whole snowball effect that comes after that. But I mean, I think your bigger countries, it's definitely not green. I mean, Australia, I think I found out the other day that they're sitting, I think, at 33 Australian dollars for petrol or something like that. So it's also through the roof. It's not like, our 27 Rand. It's high, but Australia, same thing as well. They coughing with petrol at the moment. I know, obviously, America are struggling. So I definitely think wherever you go, there's still crap.
Yeah. Well, I know, I mean, when we went to, we went to Italy, but first we landed in Paris.
Yeah.
And, we think we're going into this first world country, everything's going to run so smoothly, everything's going to be, sorted. Then we get to the front of the line to, get passport stamped or whatever, and then go into France. And there were some issues with the lady there. Their system was also down.
Yeah,
there was that. So there's a lot of things. I mean, you think everything's perfect somewhere else. I was actually, ironically enough, I was having a Zoom call with an online training client that's in America.
Yeah.
And as I was about to call him, the power went out. And then I was explaining to him load shedding and what it is. And it was so foreign to him.
You see.
He was like, I don't understand. Like, how can there not be power?
Yeah.
And like, it's so foreign and it's so interesting to see, and I mean, he was here in South Africa for 4 years. So, I mean, obviously he left when he was 4. So he can't understand really the country. But, it's just interesting to see how something that we have become so accustomed to. I mean, if you say load shedding to a 4-year-old, they understand what load shedding is.
No, they know exactly.
But now you say it to a 30-year-old man in America, and he's like, "Oh, why are they cutting the power? Like, how can there be an issue with power?"
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's the thing. It's they never truly understand. I mean, you've got to grow up, but I mean, it's something that we've adapted to now. It's part of our everyday lives. It's nothing that we're not used to. It's you at work, you get a message like Eskom's a push, okay, well, Eskom load shedding 6 till 8 o'clock tonight. It's cool. Just got to make alternate plans, and you got to arrange a few things when you're going to cook dinner, all of that stuff. And then you say it to someone overseas, they're just like, But speaking of that as well, we had when we were at Kruger now, we were busy dishing up at the buffet and that stuff, and obviously a lot of foreigners there. So these 2 girls in front of us go there and they see boerewors, bro. And they literally look at it. Ask the lady, "What meat is this?" She looks at them. She just goes, "Boerewors." Their facial expressions, bro, were just like, okay, and they just carried on. But like, even things simple like that, relating that to the Eskom and all of that stuff. Things like food as well. Speak about that to them. They sit there and they're just like, "What the hell are you talking about?" So that was just a random off topic.
No, yeah, but it's also because, I mean, every food in America, obviously America's got way more countries involved. I mean, like the most eaten food in America is like Chinese food. Yeah. But obviously it's not Chinese, but it's the American version of Chinese food.
Yeah.
And we obviously have maybe become more accustomed to Chinese food and sushi and all of that because we first saw it on TV, then obviously popularized here in the country. But I mean, not what American's going to watch a movie where someone's eating boerewors.
Yeah.
Even biltong, they only know it as jerky. So it's just interesting. And I don't know if it'll ever get to that stage, but it definitely has improved. But I mean, I was even listening to a Joe Rogan interview where he was like, he wasn't sure about the rules of rugby.
Yeah.
And I mean, rugby is a massively popular sport around the entire world.
Yeah.
But even, someone that's as well-traveled, as mixed with famous people as Joe Rogan doesn't even know what rugby or really what the rules are.
Yeah, I think there's so much out there that no one knows a lot about. I mean, vice versa. I mean, you look at the Americans looking at us, they don't know what this food is, what boerewors is. They don't know why the power would be cut out, for instance. But I suppose if we had to go there, for instance, okay, look, I honestly think South Africans are a lot more knowledgeable than other people in other countries. So we'll put that out there. But I think if we had to go to an American society, we're not going to know certain things there. They might do something you like, why do you guys do that? What's the reasoning behind this? I think there's so much out there for that we don't know.
Yeah,
we know a lot, but
if you even look at, how our days are structured.
Yes.
Because obviously how far you have to travel to certain places, you don't really want to be driving home from Pretoria at 2 in the evening. But in like New York, people walk back, people finish work later in the day. People, only go out at 2 in the morning and they leave their apartment and they can walk 3 blocks and they're at a club.
Yeah.
Where in South Africa, it's like you got to drive 40 minutes to get to Truth, or you got to do this. And, that's also a different lifestyle where, people are going to bed at like 4 or 5 o'clock in America and then waking up at like 10, 11 and starting work.
Yeah.
Whereas in South Africa, it's kind of 8 to 5, you do it, that's what it is. But now overseas is completely different. If you look at Paris, if you look at all of those like cities that are so on top of each other, everything's just so different. And people stay up late at the restaurants are open almost 24/7.
Yeah.
Here, maybe you're lucky these days if a McDonald's is open 24/7.
Nowadays it's a fight to get a McDonald's. If you want a McFlurry at 2 a.m, where you're not getting it because either the ice cream machine's fucked out or it's not open.
Bro, so you recently, to shift this a bit, had to put down your dog.
Yeah, bro. I think it's the worst thing to do to a human being. Dude, it's so cuck. Yeah, it was horrible. Shame. The dog was, he was old, bro. But he's just, when they come to stop eating and all of that stuff, you're just like, geez, okay, you don't want to torture this dog anymore. And obviously just took him to the vet. And there are alternatives, but you look at it in the long run for your dog and you're just like, it's not worth it. It's not, they're going to be suffering. They might be put on a drip to help them a little bit and to eat a bit more, but at the end is you're just prolonging the inevitable. So yeah, bro, so I take my hat off to vets. I don't know how the vets do it, and I think to myself now that when I was young I was like, I want to be a vet. I'd love to do it. And you look at it now and you're like, I'm so glad I did not go into that profession, because I mean,
all they do is put down dogs and cut off testicles.
Literally, they cut off the dog's balls and then put them down a couple of years later. No, dude, it's a thing. It's not lacquer to witness. And I mean, a shame. I went with my old man, and I was like, okay, cool. I've never seen my old man cry in my 26 years of being alive, bro. To watch a big man like that break down, like for an animal, it's a scary, scary thing to see. And I mean, I was like, I'll stay around when they put him to sleep and all of that stuff. And yeah, it's intense, bro. But it happens. It's part of life. So I think it's just something you've got to come accustomed to and used to it. So.
No. I was watching a Netflix, not really a documentary, but it's kind of, there's like 5 or 6 episodes of like what things are going to be like in the future. I can't remember what it's called. And it's about communicating with dogs and, them being able to kind of do certain things. I don't know, obviously super far in the future, but they can read certain hormones that the dogs are excreting. They can monitor the heartbeats, and they can see all these things too, and they can communicate with the dogs. But they say you're going to be able to basically talk to your dog, and you're going to see if it, like, you can give it, let's just say you have biltong for it, or you have boerewors. Then based on the dog's reaction and the chemicals it excretes, the heartbeat, the body thing, the body language or whatever, you can see, okay, he likes this one more. And they were kind of just posing the question, would you want to be able to communicate with your dog properly? Because they were, that common question of when you get home, you see your dog, how excited it is. Like, now to understand what that dog is feeling when you're away. Is the dog constantly, when is my owner getting home? Where's Jesse? Where's Jesse? Where's Jesse? Or is their memory as bad as what we think, that they've already forgotten that they were waiting all day for us once we're home? I was thinking, and they posed the question, would you want to know? I don't think I would, because just now your dog remembers every single time you've ever left him alone.
Yeah.
And like I wouldn't. Obviously they don't, because we know dogs. But I don't want to know that my dog is for 8 hours while I'm out, like suffering because I'm away. Because you can see they're not happy when people leave.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to know.
No, I also don't think. I think I'd rather just keep that side of...
Ignorance is bliss sometimes.
Yeah, I think with that whole side of animals and all of that stuff. Look, it would be cool to know what your dog's talking about, or like what they're thinking. And flip, if a dog could talk, it would be great, bro. But I'd rather just keep that side silent, I think, because like you say, you see your dog, the moment you leave them, it's like they sit at the door and look at you like, okay, you're leaving me now. They're not happy about it. You don't want to know what they're going through then, because obviously it's going to upset you, because you're like, you upset your dog now. You don't want to upset your dog. So I think I'd rather just keep that side quiet. I wouldn't.
There were cool things that they say, like, let's say someone's walking past with another dog and your dog's barking at them.
Yes.
They can communicate somehow with your dog to say, don't worry, that dog's not coming to your house, and calm your dog down.
Yes.
Or like a delivery guy's at your front door and your dog's barking at them.
Yeah.
But now you can communicate with the dog to be like, this guy's not going to harm you. So there's certain things like that,
You see,
which I find, I didn't concentrate that hard while I was watching this, I'll be honest. But I find that I can't see that ever happening.
No.
In our lifetime, at least. You're never going to be able to communicate enough with the dog to be able to tell it, don't worry, this is cool.
Yeah.
He's a friend.
No, I don't think. Look, if you point at those I think certain aspects of it would be awesome. Definitely because I know my dogs go batshit crazy, bro, when there's someone at the gate, and to tell them, okay, just chill, like stop. They obviously don't listen. So
it's my pizza, bro. It's fine.
Yeah, it's just my pizza, but then they go freaking bananas, bro. But I don't know. I don't think it will ever happen.
There was one thing that was so stupid. I think it's just people trying to just be too, I don't know. It's basically they're trying to talk about social media for dogs.
Yeah.
Where you, like virtual reality, where your dog can be chilling in your living room and being able to chat to another dog somewhere else.
Oh my
and
gosh.
you like there's a hologram of the dogs and they can chat to each other and bark and like play, and there's like a thing that releases a ball. But one thing that might be quite interesting is tug of war. So they were saying there's a rope attached to a machine on your side, and somewhere overseas there's another rope attached to another machine, and the force that this dog's pulling, that dog will feel it, and they'll be able to play tug of war with each other.
My gosh.
Which is clever in concept, but it will never work.
Look, I think technology,
that dog's not going to know that he's fighting some other dog somewhere else. He's just going to think that something's pulling the rope.
No, I don't know. It sounds a bit far-fetched. I think as the years go by, obviously we know technology is just getting better and better and better. But I think there's other shit we need to fix first before we start helping our dogs have tug of war with a dog in America or somewhere like that. So there's other cuck that needs to be sorted out first. And those geniuses that are inventing that stuff need to come up with other inventions to sort out other issues we have before they fix, tug of war with their dogs and throwing balls with their dogs, bro. No. It's far-fetched, but it's cool. It's an awesome concept. I dig it, but nah. We'll pass. Bro,
Did
you see Julius Malema?
Parting, bro. DJ Malema.
Bro, this oak, just to put into perspective for some of you guys, this man was jolling in Ibiza and DJing in Ibiza. But there was a whole article about it. I didn't read exactly what happened with him, but apparently he funded this entire trip. He funded for him and his wife to go down to Ibiza for someone's wedding. But apparently, and then his wife even commented that he's been working exceptionally hard to be able to save money to be able to go to Ibiza, bro.
He definitely, I would say, used the money in his account to fund it.
Yes.
But how did that? Whose tax-paying money went into that account?
That's the key question there, bro. Like, yes, okay, maybe he's been working. I don't know what hard work he's been doing, but he's been working hard nonetheless, apparently, according to his wife. But yeah, whose money did he use to go there? Because it's the money from his account, yes, but from where? But the man had a jaw. Oh, juju.
I can't. I mean, who was he DJing, or was there a DJ there and then he went onto the set?
I think there was a DJ there, and then he just, because there's another video I've seen of him before as well. There were a few big names. I think Black Coffee was there. There were a few people that were there.
Knowing Julius, he probably knows Black Coffee.
But that's the thing, bro. So there were a few people of power, well, not power, just big names there. And then it was someone's wedding, and there were a group of guys that, that organized this entire party and the whole thing. So, yeah, no, they were having a lekker jaw in Ibiza, bro. So, I don't know.
Hey, bro.
Special. Very special individuals.
I think that's the thing where, people that will vote for the EFF, and they like, for people to see Julius there, partying there, DJing, but the people that are voting for him are the people in poverty, and it's the people that he is, he's a con artist. He's someone that is trying to tell the people in poverty that they are in poverty because of other people.
Yeah.
And he's not saying, let's try and build up our country together.
Yeah.
He's saying, let's take all those people in power or those people that have privilege, take them out, kill them, get rid of them, so that there's just more for us.
But that's the whole thing, and that's what frustrates me as well the most about all of this stuff is all of these promises get made that we need to fix this, we need to do this, we need to do this. Okay, cool. Then fix it. But now you, Jolene in Ibiza, and like you say, people in poverty now are still going to vote for him at the end of the day. And that's what annoys me the most. Can people not see the bigger picture of what is actually happening? Can you not? Are you oblivious to it? What's I'd like to know, like, if I could get a group of people into a room and just ask them certain questions and be like, okay, what do you envision here? What are you seeing here? What's making you want to do this, or possibly want to vote for an individual, but they are jolling and having fun overseas or in
You're like, what is Julius promising people? Because every political party, every political leader promises things and promises change and promises moving forward. So what separates, people voting for Julius when he is so out there and it's not, and he's so polarizing. It's not like he is just, we want the better for the country. We want all of these things. Yeah. He's very actively against white people.
Yeah.
So like, what promises is he making? Because everyone promises equality. Everyone promises more jobs. Everyone promises no load shedding, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Why do people believe his lies?
Yeah. Look, I mean, it's not even just him. They all do the exact same thing. I mean, we all have our parties that we vote for, and the same shit gets said throughout every freaking political party. We'll promise us, we'll deliver this, we'll deliver this. Look, at the end of the day, half of it hasn't even been delivered in any case. So, but like I say, I'd just love to know, like you say, what does he say to them that makes them, at the end of the day, vote for him? Because he's obviously, he must be saying something great. Because now, like, from my perspective, if I was someone that was supporting his movement and I see him now I'm someone who's struggling on a daily basis. I don't live a great lifestyle. I'm not, shelter over my head is barely kept together. I'm having possibly 1 meal a day, if not 0 meals a day. I'm not earning anything and that stuff. I'm scavenging around and all of that. Now, I do all of that now, and I go and see a man in a party central of the world, one of the most well-known party places. It's not cheap to be there, having the time of his life, but I'm sitting here suffering now. That's just going to make me question, okay, he's doing that, but it's like maybe I should just pull out and not vote for this guy anymore. Maybe if I vote for another party, maybe there'll be something different. Maybe I'll be able to get what I'm longing for. Maybe I'll be able to get that job that I've been wanting to do, even if it's a minimalistic job or it's something small. It's something. But I don't know. He's got a grip on them clearly, that they still stick around. But we were speaking last night. I think it's also got to do with the people that he associates with himself outside of the country, not even just in here. Because I heard a little rumor about, or not a rumor, I think it was actually on that article, that one of the guys that was there at that party pumped like 200 million into the EFF or something along those lines. So I also think it's the outside world that is not accustomed to how he behaves in our country. They see him as someone completely different, that are helping fund what he believes firmly in, obviously. But like I say, if I could get people into a room and just ask them, wow, what do you see? What's the reason behind your choices and that stuff? Just to get an understanding, where then it would clear up a lot for me then as well. Then I would know, okay, why do you do what you do? Why do you vote for a man who's having fun overseas but you're busy struggling? So I don't know. That's a can of worms for another day, Drew. Who knows?
It is. I think it's also they see him like, let's say they might see him there partying.
Yeah.
And they might believe that one day they'll have that kind of wealth as well.
Yeah.
You know, they'll be there and they'll be as privileged as he has become.
Yeah.
Through voting for him and through what he promises them. And also, you know, it's also if you don't vote for him, your family is then threatened or your family is in danger because, you know, you live in a community where it's predominantly EFF. And if you're not also voting for EFF, it could be a problem for you and your family and your safety.
Yeah, I think that is probably, and that's probably a good point to point out, because that's probably the case. It's you are in a community where we vote and we stand for one political party and we have to vote for them. If you don't do that, and I mean, we're in one of the top crime countries in the world. Who says that if you don't vote, they're just going to put a gun to your head and blow your brains out? Because that's probably the threats that people get.
Because also, if you don't have a job, you're not arriving the next day. You're not working for anyone who's going to be like, hey, where's Chris today? You know, no one's going to be asking questions if you just suddenly disappear and you're no longer around. And also, the area you're in, there's not as many police vehicles driving through. There's no patrols.
Exactly.
So, you know, potentially you could be definitely more at risk in terms of your own safety for not voting for that party. Because, I mean, for us, if we want to vote for anyone, we vote for anyone.
That's the thing, bro. Yeah.
We live in a safer... I wouldn't say safe because it is South Africa, but a safer environment.
Yes.
Where you're pretty safe to vote for who you want.
Yeah. No, but that's the thing. I definitely think that's a key factor that influences people's mindset when it comes to voting. Because, I mean, you're getting threatened if you don't vote for EFF, there's going to be consequences. If you don't vote for DA, if you don't vote for ANC, there's going to be consequences. So that probably is an aspect that does influence the choices that people make. I definitely think it involves there's a lot of issues with regards to that. So, and that sucks. That's the annoying part, is that the people probably see past the promises, all of that stuff that is made to them, but they've got no choice at the end of the day because it's a community decision. It's what everybody does. Majority. But then that also links to the same thing as people are like, no, we're not going to vote because what's my vote going to make a difference?
If everyone has that mindset, then no one votes.
But you see, but that's the annoying part as well. For any party of that matter, it's everyone's just like, why does I'm not going to vote because my vote's not going to matter. It's going to mean nothing. I'm one individual. At the end of the day, it all does flip and matter.
You get 10,000 individuals that are thinking that are voting for the party that might actually make the change.
Exactly.
It could have made the difference.
Yeah, so those people, you know what, you can sit on it and shove it because...
Dude, I'll be honest, I did last elections. I never voted because I was in the queue of about 3,000 people. And I said to my mom, let's go, we'll come back later.
And you never went back.
And then I never went back.
Look, dude, it's...
But I don't... I'm not one who really complains a lot about our government. I'm kind of just like, we deal with it.
Yeah, look, I'm also... I think I've gotten to that point where it's just like, you take it as it comes. And like we say, it's things you can't control.
And it doesn't... So this is actually a good example. On Saturday, my dad and I were cycling in Reimsig there. You know, next to the stadium, there's this dirt road and all that. So we saw Oaks just dumping there. My dad, like, being the man he is, not in a negative way, shouted at these guys.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, just leave them. Like, what is it going to achieve? That guy's got a beer in his hand. They're dumping things. Like, you shouting at them is not going to change them from doing this. You're just going to upset yourself.
Yeah.
So he's like, Jesse, but someone has to do something, because if no one does anything, your kids aren't going to be able to cycle where we just cycled one day. Because this country is just going to go even more downhill. And I said to him, sure, I understand, but how is it going to change that guy's mind by you shouting at him?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, true. Then maybe I go up to him. I was like, bro, a white male going up to these Oaks, 4 of them.
Yeah.
The one guy was drinking. Who knows how much they've drunk.
Yeah.
Dumping the stuff, and you going and saying and reprimanding them, I don't think that's going to have a good effect. I think the only thing you can do in that situation is maybe take their license plate down and report them.
Yeah.
But also we know that reporting is also not going to do anything. So, it's unfortunate because what do you do? How do you respond? What in that kind of situation? Because cycling past and shouting and swearing at them isn't going to change the situation.
Yeah.
It's not going to make them stop. They're going to do in the future.
Exactly. Yeah.
Reporting them is maybe the only route, but also reporting them. Who's going to go there now after reporting them and go find them?
Exactly. No, but look, he's got a point of saying, who's going to say anything to them? Someone has to at least say something, but it doesn't change anything. And that's also something I've learned, even just on our roads with the taxis as well. Bro, it doesn't even nowadays. Shouting at a taxi driver, like I said, upsets you, and there's no point of it anymore because he's going to do what the hell he wants to do. If he wants to pull out in front of you, he'll do it.
It doesn't, because you, let's say, have stopped shouting at them, it doesn't mean that you're accepting of it.
Yes.
It just means that you shouting at him or you not shouting at him is going to have the same effect on him if he does do it or not.
Exactly.
So it's not acceptance and it's not allowance. It's kind of just removing yourself from the situation and not allowing something that's so far out of your control to affect you, because and I know, we've all been guilty of it, people watching this as well.
Yeah.
If you shout at a taxi, you swear at a taxi, you get enraged, whatever, you then drive away and it's affecting you and it's affecting the rest of your day possibly, because I know I've been in a situation like that where I'll think about that and it'll frustrate me the entire day and it has no benefit. I mean, that's something I remember my mom taught me when I was young. It's like, Jesse, you can't be upset with someone else. You need to forgive them because that person is not going to know you're upset with them. All it's going to do is consume you. And that person is going to continue living their life. And you being angry at them is going to have probably, let's just say a taxi driver. Not talk about friends and that kind of stuff. But you being angry at that taxi driver the entire day, then going home and taking it out on your family or taking it out on other people, it's not going to affect that taxi driver.
No, it's not. But that's why it's something you just learn to accept nowadays. It's not like you say, I'm not agreeing with what he does, but I know no matter what I say, he's just going to either give me the middle finger or literally just tell me to foot sack. And then I'm just going to, then I sit there.
You're swearing to yourself.
Yeah, then I'm driving on my way home and I'm having this full on roll in my head with this guy because he cut me off. And at the end of the day, it's, like you say, you go home and you're pissed off and then you start rolling with everybody else now because you've had a cuck day because of one taxi driver. All he's done is carried on driving, collected people, gotten money, gone home, and he's chilled. So it's irrelevant. It all ties down to, it's something that you cannot do, bro. You can't control it, and there's no point in upsetting yourself nowadays over shit like that. We just need to accept we are in the country that's absolutely beautiful. It's
beautiful, bro.
It's stunning, but it's fucked.
The people that run it, not doing the best job.
No.
But the place we are, that's why you just, what can you control? You can control looking at the beautiful things and looking at your own happiness.
Yes.
You can maybe control reporting that guy. I can, let's just look at that situation. What could my dad control in that situation, or what could I control in that situation? We can control how upset we get.
Yes.
So we can not allow ourselves to get upset. We can allow ourselves to be upset and complain about it to someone or report it, but then move on from it. Not allow it to affect our happiness or to affect our perception on things, or allow it to then cause a fight with the partner, or then allow it to make you bitter. Because if you allow other people, that's actually what I want to close off with, is a quote where you were talking about something that reminded me of it, is if you want to see who controls you, look at the person you're not allowed to offend. Or if you want to find out who your master is, look at the person you're not allowed to offend.
Okay.
And I mean, that's true. If you can't tell someone your opinion, they're a master of you. If you're too scared of upsetting someone, I mean, us as boys have definitely been in a situation with our dads, or even our moms, where you've got an opinion that might be different to them, but we'll keep it to ourselves because we don't want to offend them by having a different perspective to them. Then they're almost in control of us. And we can have that in a country, you can have that in a school where you're a student and there's a teacher. You can have that anywhere where, you know, if you aren't, and that's also kind of where we've got in our country or society in general, is you can't have an opinion because you're too scared of offending someone.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, don't voice hurtful opinions.
Yes.
But if you disagree with a political stance, or if you disagree with anything, if you are too scared to offend a person, that person controls you.
Yeah. No, I agree, bro. And that ties in with one of our laws. We have the right to freedom of speech. You're allowed to voice your opinion. You're allowed to say what you want to say, but you've obviously got to look at it in the sense of you've got to be careful in the way that you say it. And yeah, I think as the South Africans, we're at that. I think everybody's at that point now where they don't know how to say things. Like they just, now it's just pure rage because of all the stuff that we're going through. There's no way to just be like, okay, maybe we can look at it from this aspect and that stuff. But now it's just people are going crazy and going off because we have power cuts every single day.
I think it's just that point of desperation where you can absolutely do nothing.
Yeah.
What can you and I do about this load shedding? What can you and I do about who's in power other than voting?
Yeah.
You know, what can you and I do about potholes? What can you and I do? And this goes for every single citizen almost. There's absolutely nothing you can do other than vote for a party and just hope they win.
Yeah, but that's the thing. We can't do. We just have to sit back and basically enjoy the ride, bro. Well, try enjoy it because of obviously everything that goes on. Unfortunately, we're in that situation. We can voice what we want to voice. We can try not have the people control us, like you say. You know, if you don't voice what you want to say, then that person has a hold on you, for instance, or they are the master of you. So yes, you can voice what you want to say. At the end of the day, they are still going to do or believe what they believe in. And that's the thing with the country in general. We can voice what we want to say. We can put it all over social media. We can go on about it every single day. At the end of the day, they are going to do what they still want to do regardless. And I think, unfortunately, it's something we just got to sit back and flip and fuss and hope for the best.
At least we're doing it in a nice-ish environment.
Yeah.
Just try to get out to the bush as much as possible. Try to get out to the mountains. Go to the beach.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, I think, that's definitely... You know what? If you're freaking out about everything in the city and that stuff, just go take a trip somewhere to clear your mind a little bit and then come back and then you reset.
And then 30 seconds later, you need another trip.
Well, literally, that was us. We got back from the Kruger on Sunday, bro. We literally got back from the Kruger. Obviously, nice recharge, reset. Everything else, we had load shedding while we were there, but there was a generator, so you weren't even affected by it. Come back, what's the first thing we arrive? 4 o'clock. Eskom, like shedding.
Nice.
We're like, back to the crazy cars all over the road on the highways and load shedding. I mean, what more could you possibly ask for, bro? But that's the country we're in. So it's things we just got to appreciate the small shit in life. Appreciate the little bushveld over here, bushveld over there, the sea, all of that stuff. Appreciate all of those things. And then just, take it as it comes because unfortunately, we cannot control until the higher powers get their acts in order and that stuff. We just along for the joyride and we have to sit tight and hope that everything works in our favor at some stage in life. So, it sucks.
Well, I hope you guys are watching this. Actually, if you're watching this with your daughter during load shedding, cool. If you've even watched this far, maybe just comment below. I made it to 50 minutes or whatever this is.
Yeah.
We'll appreciate it and we'll see you guys next time. Cheers.
Peace.